It's that time again. Time for some real talk about real issues to enhance your real life. Whatever you think, whatever you know, whatever you feel, Tanya doesn't mind talking about it. Get ready for some real talk that is always rated R, because Talk with Tanya has got to be relevant. Talk with Tanya has got to be refreshing. But most importantly, Talk with Tanya has got to be real. Tune in right now for Real Talk with Tanya White.
Welcome once again to another Real Talk with Tanya White show. You know we're always rated R for being real, relevant, and refreshing. And we're kicking off our new season in September. We're making this a September to remember. All our guests, as always, are extraordinary. But this month, they're just epic. They're bringing epic information that's going to set and position us to change the trajectory of the rest of our year and even 2026. And today's show guest is no different. She's been a staple on this show. She's a doctor, the Workplace Wizard. Before we bring my girl on, I must pay homage to our sponsors for this month, Cheryl and Casper Stockham. They are the authors of Mastering Adam and Mastering Eve. They are the love builders. They've been on the show several times. They're going to be back on this month as well. But they are love builders, and they talk about their first book was called Divorce Proof Your Marriage. And then Casper did a book called Mastering Adam. Cheryl's released her book, Mastering Eve. They talk about marriage, relationships, all God's way. So get with them, connect with them on Facebook under Cheryl Stockham or Casper Stockham or IamLoveBuilders.com. Get with them. Thank you so much. If you want to be a sponsor of the Real Talk with Tanya White show, email us at realtalkwithtanyawhite@gmail.com. Tanya, you know it's spelled Tanya. White is in the color. Or inbox me on any platform you see me on. We'll give you more bang for your buck. We'll always announce in our promotions on the show that you are a sponsor, and also you get to be a featured guest on one of our shows to discuss and connect with our audience live. So we're talking about the workplace today with the Workplace Wizard, CultureOlogist, Dr. Tajiri Brackens. That name is going to change in a bit. The last name, is that still on the pathway? You on mute, doctor.
I'm just talking like the whole world can hear me. Well, they can. They can hear me. The whole world can hear me. And yes, ma'am, that is still in the future. And trust everybody, not everybody, everybody know about it.
All right.
And those that need to know about it gonna need to know about it.
Point blank to the period now. Doctor, those who have been under a rock
and please
don't know who you is.
My allergies are bothering me.
That's okay. It's real talk. It's real issues, and allergies are real. Tell our audience who you are.
Whew. Well, I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes version as to who I am and who I be. I am Dr. Tajiri Brackens, known in these streets as the Workplace Wizard / CultureOlogist. And exactly what it is that we do is we help the Dorothys, which you'll find out more about that in our conversation, who Dorothy is. We help them to go from being undervalued, estimated, unseen, and marginalized to stepping into their amazing power of being seen and getting what it is that they need in order to succeed in leadership positions, whether that be in their current workplace, or if they just got to ease on down the road and get to the next workplace. But that's exactly what we do, creating a culture to where people want to stay and not leave.
Okay, stay and not leave. And sometimes you got to leave. You must leave because your season is up. All right. Yes. And so sometimes we stay too long in our current situation. Now, for those who do not know about the Wiz and Dorothy, give us a brief description of the Dorothys. And Dorothy's is not a gender. It's just
correct.
Dorothy can be male or female. Tell us,
Absolutely.
give us the description of the Dorothy's in the workplace.
So what Dorothy in the workplace looks like, and let me just say, I am Dorothy and Dorothy is me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dorothy was me. Let me rephrase it. Let me put the right verb in there. Dorothy was me. So that's why I can identify with it so well. So coming from my professional background of over 3 decades in sales in a excuse me, in a direct sales environment, one of the things that stood out to me was that I have amazing skills
Mm-hmm.
and there is so much for me, so much value. I'm such an asset, but was overlooked and swept up under the rug in that environment. And one of the main things that stood out to me that really caused me to resonate who I was in my power, in my anointing, and in my gifts was a statement that was made to me. And that was simply, "You cost me money."
Oh,
Not worried about, yeah, you heard what I said. Let me say
I
it
felt
again.
that in my spirit, doctor.
Yeah, you cost me money. And that was said to me right after not being able to accomplish a goal that I really had intention on fulfilling. However, this thing called life has a
Mm-hmm.
way of coming in and circumventing things. And on occasion, not always the case, because you can push through. However, this particular instance, this was not one of those situations where I could have pushed through, could have pressed through that particular situation. I needed to pause, deal
Mm-hmm.
with the situation, and then be able to pick up and move forward. So that stung, and that helped to develop the Workplace Wizard as of this day. The other side to that coin is being in corporate America, working for Continental Airlines, which lets you know how long ago that was. My supervisor undervalued me yet again, another time when I felt undervalued. And that was because her education came from a PWI, predominantly white institution, versus mine from the illustrious Texas Southern University, which is an HBCU. Um, she felt that I had nothing to bring to the table, and that was completely opposite, quite the contrary. And then I was also working on my master's degree at the time. Come on now.
This is what I heard you
Absolutely.
saying.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, absolutely. I was being professionally lynched. So not only did I come from an HBCU, but I was also working on my master's degree at the time. She felt inferior, not only because of the education, but she felt that I was coming after her position. Baby, I wasn't
Mhm.
trying to be a supervisor. I'm greater than that. What
Yeah,
I was looking at, yeah, I said it and I said it with confidence. I said it with my whole chest.
your
Um,
whole chest. I know you did. I know you did,
whole
doctor.
my whole chest. And it was, baby, I'm not coming for your job because I know that I'm greater than what your position has. I know that I'm called for more than what your position is able to do, able to allow me to do, or shall I say, not able to allow me to do the things that I need to do and what I've been called for. So I'm looking for greater things with greater money so that I can have greater impact. So whether that mean something similar to, but of course,
Mhm.
Continental Airlines is not my stay 30-year program
Yes.
for a career path. I'm looking for the director. I'm
Uh,
looking for not necessarily CEO, but a C-suite type of position because
yeah.
I knew my value and I knew what I brought to the table. And a supervisor role just was not it.
Wasn't
So that
you
it wasn't
doctor,
it at
you
all.
said a whole lot, and not just for the female, but also men, especially in some uh, female dominated industries such as education, have felt that way.
Mhm.
But you said, first of all, I heard you say you were just being you, doing what you wanted to do, doing it with excellence, and getting, response, positive response, and manifestations of things. And then somebody got insecure and jealous because you
Both
were being
situations.
you. Okay.
Both situations.
In both situations. So, one thing it is that that contributes to the culture of limitedness. Okay, that's what I'll say. When you have a limited culture, it's because you have a limited leader, a leader who does not see beyond the present, wants to kind of stay in the past and not future focused. As a culturologist, why is that poison to an organization, having a leader who is not future focused, but stays in the present and ties the present to the past?
Because in a quick nutshell, it keeps the growth of the organization from happening. It becomes stagnant. You paralyze and you muffle your greatest asset, which is your human resource. And once you begin to muffle that, then they begin to shrink. And what that looks like is quiet quitting. That looks like doing just enough to keep from getting fired. That looks like disengagement. So, once you get to that point, now for the organization, that looks like having to retrain people to get new people to come in. That looks like decreased bottom line, because you're constantly having to replace what it is that you had there. And I'm going to just simply equate this to dating. Had you taken care of what you had and did what you did to get them, to keep them, you wouldn't have to worry about having to reinvest in getting somebody else to fulfill those shoes. So that's what it looks like when you get stuck and stagnant in a place where you don't want growth to happen, or you're too busy looking in the rearview mirror as to what it used to be, what it was like. And those were, quote unquote, the good old days. Baby, you can't stay in the good old days, because times are forcing you to change. And we can even see that with the technology change. So, our country started off in an agricultural phase. Then it went from agricultural phase to industrial phase, from industrial phase to technological phase. So if somebody is still stuck in industrial or even agricultural, they are getting completely left behind in this technological age. So that's why we need to move forward and go with the shifts, go with the pivots, even if we don't like it. But we have to find a way to adjust and be able to fit in so that we can continue to simply live. That's just that part of it. Not even the growth, but just to simply live. Because some things that are available to us now were not available then. The things that were available then are extinct now.
Extinct, like the telephone book. You remember when we always used to be excited? I know I did. Get the new telephone book, because I was, especially when I was a teenager into boys, I was like, ooh, let me see where they live and see if it get me the right. We don't even got telephone books no more. People don't even have the area codes to where they live anymore. You can have a phone with any area code and be anywhere in the world. One of the great movies that I encourage everyone to see, because it ties in what you said about when you are do not grow, it's going to hurt your business in the industry. It's the movie called BlackBerry. If y'all remember the BlackBerry phone, you don't remember it because it's extinct, because they refuse to change. On the cutting edge of when cell phones came out, the BlackBerry was the industry dominator.
Yep.
To the point where
got one still to this day. It was in fact, I got 2, maybe 3 of them still to this day. Do I use them? Because the technology is not there. I can't.
Because they're extinct. The company is extinct. Why? Because they refuse to grow. They got high. Like my grandma used to say, they were smelling their must and thought they was suchy muchy, and refused to adapt. Like Dr. Leroy said in a previous show, refused to adapt. And so they got so high-minded, especially when the president of the United States was using a BlackBerry. And they were dominated for years. They dominated the market. But little did they know Because whenever you are trailblazer and you're dominating, people are watching and learning from you from afar.
Coming up behind you.
And what happened was Steve Jobs, Google, were watching what they were doing. And they were forward moving. Mm-hmm. BlackBerry wasn't forward moving. They thought, oh, it took us this long to get this. Now we dominate the market. We know what we're doing. But we don't have to change because we are the changers. And if we don't want to change, but what they did not realize, somebody was watching, benchmarking what they do and dipping it into Apple, dipping it into Google. And so while they were refusing to change, they had all these antiquated technology and products. When the world was changing, the phones were changing to internet, not with the BlackBerry typewriter thing, but internal typewriting, Apple, Google, AT&T. And so they had all these products.
Just straight flat
screen. And so they had all these products with this new thing and they couldn't sell them. Mm-hmm. I encourage everybody to watch that movie, especially if you're a leader and you're trying to move your vision forward and you're having pushback and resistance. If you continue to be resistant to what the future is holding, all right, AI, people are still refusing AI, like they refused the ATMs. Like I remember sitting in high school and they said we were going to be a moneyless society. And I was like, how is that possible? Mm-hmm. Are we not a moneyless society? Everything is Cash App, ATM. People now, if you ask me for cash, I'll be like, huh? I don't have no cash. I don't carry cash. But I could not believe that when I was like a sophomore in high school and they were teaching us then, there's not going to be money exchanging hands in the future. And he's like, that is not possible. Possible. So when you limit
now I can just tap my phone to you, to them, go to the app, send, Zelle, Venmo, whatever it is that you got. I don't have to have it. And being stuck. Oh my gosh, this just hit me. Even when you go to the ballparks, the stadiums, they don't do that. You have to have some type of electronic device or electronic item, or even just a credit card.
Yes.
Just a credit card to tap. They don't take cash. It is so rare. And even if you think about it, when you purchase tickets, it's a QR code. Very seldom you have a physical ticket to get into events. Everything has become so digitized right now that if you were stuck in that place to where you had to have something physical in your hand, I'll even push it back further to electronic airline tickets. I was in the airline industry. You heard me say Continental Airlines. I was a corporate travel agent for over 2 decades. So once the transition started happening from paper tickets to where we had to write out everything to things being electronically done, folks resisted, but after a while, they didn't have no choice. This is all you got. If you want to get on a plane and you want to go from point A to point B, this is how this transaction is going to happen. So they began to dominate and dictate how things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. You can stay behind if you want to, but your behind is going to be behind.
It's going to be behind. Your behind is going to be behind. And when you have that, especially the resistance in an organization, that infects the culture.
Absolutely.
What type of infection occurs when resistant? And I'm talking about a stronghold of resistance, not just, hey, I don't know if this is going to work, but they showed you the evidence, they showed you what the future is, and you saying, I am not moving. That's the resistance, the stubborn resistance. How does that infect a culture? CultureOlogist?
As you said, it infects it and creates disease within the organization. And once you have disease, just like within your body, you can't move forward, and it keeps other things from growing, but it has a way of manifesting within itself, and it grows to where it contaminates everything else. And then
It's
there
like a
comes
cancer. It
absolutely,
metastasizes.
absolutely. So then you have to get to the point to where it's like, okay, I got to do something with what this problem is. I got to cut it off, which looks like termination. It
Mm-hmm.
looks like layoff,
Mm-hmm.
because you are no longer serving the body any justice or doing any good to the body. And when I say body, I don't just mean physical body, but the body of the organization.
Yes.
And I got to get rid of you,
Yeah.
and so that we can move forward and do what we need to do. And dare I even go back and say what I said in the beginning that hurt me, but you are costing us. So we
Yes.
got to do something about it. But it's different coming from a a professional part, as far as having a full organization where you are responsible to other people, what your stakeholders are, as far as cutting your losses, no pun intended. Um, that's a little bit different, even though it's the same words, but it's in a different environment than being in a sales environment, to where you cost me money, because that's personal as to what goes
Yes.
into one individual's pocket versus how it's affecting a larger frame. There are more people
Yes.
at stake when it comes to an organization versus um, to a direct sales and entrepreneur or what have you. And yes, there are other people that are tied to it, but
Mm-hmm.
again, there are more people tied to a full company,
Yes.
i.e., let's just say a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola or IBM or something like that. There are more legs to that versus an an entrepreneur and their organization.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I love what you said. You have it. Sometimes you got to terminate. And I just put it as I'm giving you an opportunity for your next opportunity because this opportunity ain't working. Yeah. And as when you become a culturologist and you are really passionate about creating a culture, my culture creation is called a culture of champions, the team of we. And when someone is not operating in the team of we, and it's me, and you're trying to get other me's. Oh, I have learned to snip it, cut it, um, and say bye politely. Because as a leader, especially as a leader, when other people see that something is not being handled, they become
Mm.
professionally unsafe.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that goes to the shrinkage and the being unseen and the being undervalued, underestimated, and the marginalization of your greatest people, your greatest asset.
Yes.
That's where your disengagement comes from, because now I don't have trust in who you are as my leader. And I began to not respect you. Not that I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to disrespect you, but I began to not respect you as a person and the position. And that's
Yes.
a dangerous place to be in, because then you are creating a toxic workplace.
Yes.
And all that's going to do, it's going to be like mold. When you set something, a piece of fruit that's molded next to a good piece of fruit, then that good piece of fruit is going to be tainted and molded as well. And it's just going to matriculate again throughout the organization. So it's best you go ahead and handle what they're just gone on and throw out that bad orange, that bad
Yes.
apple. Get rid of it so that you can protect and preserve what it is that you already have. Now you may have to get rid of the pieces of fruit that were contaminated by it, that were immediately close to it, because you see the residual of what has happened from the initial contamination.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But once you do that, then now fresh,
Mm.
firm fruit. You're
Yes.
left with good fruit that people can eat off of and be nourished and grow from there.
And grow from there. And sometimes as leaders, and I'm talking to leaders, sometimes that when people perceive you, it's based on not what you did, but what they've experienced from others. And so you have to not take it personally, but you still have to press forward,
Mhm.
creating that culture. I call it a championship culture, a culture of optimism, hope. But you
Mhm.
have to address that and not take it personally and not try to defend yourself, but create the culture that you want and protect the staff members and stakeholders that you need to protect. Now, before we go, we must talk about being the Dorothy in the workplace from the African-American woman perspective. Okay? We're both African-American women. Our experiences are way different. Okay?
Yeah.
Than the norm.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Than the norm. Unfortunately, yes, in 2025, 6 months away from 2026, we are still, as Malcolm X said, the most disrespected, neglected, and ignored, even though we have given the most. We are the backbone of everything.
I am at 92%. Carry on.
Come on now. Come on now. And I'm drinking my water and relaxing because whatever. But
out here learning line dances. That's what I'm doing right now.
Listen, because I try to tell you. From the African-American woman's perspective of coming in there, wanting to be an asset, they say they invite you to the table, but they don't welcome you when you get at the table. How can we continue not to internalize being the Dorothys? And take this back to the Wiz. The treatment that we receive and pressing forth in spite of.
My 2 cents. This is just my
doctor. That's what you all here for. The doctor's nuggets of wisdom.
My POV is one, stepping back and first breathing. First breathing. And I believe in I over E, which is intelligence over emotions. So let's look and deal with what's on the table and then make the decisions accordingly.
Yeah.
And then once we start making the decisions accordingly, being unapologetic in our decisions and what we believe in, and as they say, standing on business, and being clear in your boundaries, being clear in your decision making, and even within the decision making, making sure that it's going to do the most good for the most amount of people.
Yes.
Not every decision is going to make everybody happy. And that's because people come from different backgrounds, different pedigrees. They have different experiences, which changes their perspective or shapes their perspective. And then from that perspective, leads to their reality. So because of that, you're gonna ruffle some feathers at some point. But if you can show how the decision that you made is not only for the greater good, but show them how it can benefit them as well, and not always looking at the negative on it or how they're perceiving it to be, then you can get more buy-in and more understanding of what the decision is. They may not agree with it, but at least they'll have a better understanding as to why the decision was made. And that just simply comes from open communication on both sides. And the communication is not condemnation. It is simply, here's the information. I ain't trying to tell you how to think. I ain't trying to persuade you one way or the other. These are the facts that we're dealing with, and this is how we have to adjust accordingly. It has nothing to do with you. It's not personal at all. I have tried to consider, or you try to consider other people's point of views, where they're coming from, how it is going to affect them. But you can't make one decision that is going to make 50 people happy.
Yes.
Okay. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just can't. The numbers, that math ain't mathing. You might make 49 people happy. You may make 45 people happy, but you're not going to make 50 people happy if there are only 50 people there with just one decision. Yes. So somebody is going to be in their feelings. Somebody is going to have their feathers ruffled, but you got to deal with it. So now that you know that their feathers are ruffled and they're not happy with it, how can you share with them? How can you show them that this really is the better decision versus what was on the table and the other options that were there?
Yeah. And to further that from the melanin perspective, sometimes they don't even want to hear it, because whatever decision you make, even if it's the decision they agree with, it will change, because we are still in a time that as African American women, we are viewed as less than,
Just less than.
not intelligent enough than most people. And we, as Malcolm X said, we're the most neglected and ignored. And so as African American decision makers, you have to be comfortable with other people being uncomfortable. And I have learned, especially over this past 5 years, you don't have to prove or defend your decision, because other genders and ethnicities are not doing that. They're making the decision, doing it.
You live with it and you keep going.
Keep going. Even as a servant leader. Who it was on it? Dr. Will said it, put it so perfectly. People forget that Jesus was both human and divine.
Absolutely.
And a lot of teachings people didn't agree with. Jesus kept moving. Now, certain times he had to get bad about it, but that wasn't always.
He had to turn some tables.
He had
to call some folks out.
Thank you. He had to have conversations. I picked you, and you can't even do what I asked you to do. I'm disappointed, but I'm gonna keep on focused on my thing. We've got to do that. African American women in decision-making roles, do not defend yourself. Do not, even with the 5 who are disappointed, address the disappointment. And if you see the 5 who are disappointed, they creating toxicity, address it immediately, because it's not going to self-correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And document every conversation. Send them the documentation, because when it comes that time to say, let me release you to your next opportunity, you will have the paper trail. And that's what we got to get more of.
And that's on both sides. That's on both sides. And on the actual employee, because yes, ma'am, because they will make up some stuff. I have been a witness to it. God knows I have. No, that ain't the way that happened. And when you are able to document, even just for yourself, for recollection, when it comes back up as to what happened in that situation, it is going to be to your benefit, and it's going to make you more credible, because you're able to give specifics as to what happened and what went down. And when you're able to combat that with what it is that they say, talk about your credibility going up. Boom. And now whoever it is that is trying to make the decision, they are like, well, wait a minute, hold up. She wouldn't be able to give these specifics had that not been the case. And let's compare that to what it is that they are saying. Yes, they say this, but here's their narrative and their spin on it. Here's her perspective. Remember earlier, your experiences, your perspective, and your reality. Here's her perspective on what it was that happened. So this is the way that she is perceiving it as being her reality versus what it is that they are showing. So now that I have these two different views, how am I going to put them together and make this true decision that's going to be the best decision? Not necessarily I'm going to do it in favor of company A, or that I'm going to do it in favor of employee A, but I've got to deal with the facts and what's on the table in front of me. And people have an issue with dealing with facts. They only want to take the cookie cutter, what they want out of it, as far as the whole, if you think about, since I said cookie cutter, you've got your dough for your cookies. You cut out exactly what it is that you want, and you still have the whole rest of the mass of what the cookie, that little piece of cookie comes out of. And then what do you have to do after you've cut up all of the cookies? Then you got to roll that mass back up and then lay it back out so that you can get some more cookies that's put out of that. Well, when it's all
You gotta
said
what?
and
You
done,
gotta roll it back up, knead it
lay
back
it
out.
out and cut some more cookies. But even though you're the chipping away at the mass roll of dough or whatever it is that's left,
Yeah.
you're still, even after you go through doing that multiple times, you're still going to have some piece of that dough that's going to be left, even if it's a little bitty sliver that can't even make a full cookie, but you're still going to have the bones of what it is that you were actually making. And if you do right by that, then what you can do is you can begin to multiply that, whether that be go add some more, go create another what do you call another bowl of dough or whatever it is that I don't know the technical terms, but you can go make some more dough that you can put that little piece on, and now you are magnified and you're back to where it was that you had, where you had a whole lot to work with versus a little bitty piece.
That's something that she made me want some Toll House cookies with the pecan caramel. Think I'm gonna go treat myself. Listen, that was so good, and it's so true. It is so true. We are running out of time. Doctor, the Workplace Wizard, you shall be back. Tell us what is up next for you, how people can contact you, and what great thing you have, why people should invite you to their organization, hire you for their needs.
Because I am the answer, and I'm going to help you deal with that pain. I'm not going to just give you an aspirin or give you some Tylenol 3. I'm gonna dig in there, and we're gonna do a biopsy. We're gonna figure out exactly what's going on, and then we're gonna set up a treatment plan so that you don't have to deal with that pain point anymore. That's why you need to get me on board to help you with what it is that's going on in your culture, in your workplace where you're having these issues. That's one thing. Now, as far as individually, I help the Dorothys. I help them be like the Sphinx and just rise to their greatness. And I actually have 2 coaching programs for that, because I'm very flexible, because I understand everybody is not at the same place, but sometimes everybody has the same goal. They just have different routes of how they're going to get to that goal. So I am there to help them, which is why I have 2 different avenues of that. I am going to be launching in August a webinar that's going to help you get a sneak peek as to what it is that I do, how I do what I do, so that you can understand why I am the answer and why you need to hire me to help you with whatever it is that your issue is that you're dealing with, that I can help solve within my wheelhouse. I ain't trying to help nobody cook no cookies. I ain't trying to help nobody be a mechanic. That ain't what I do. But what I do know is understanding leadership, understanding organizations, and understanding culture. That's what I know, and I can help you in that. So that's one thing there. And then I have an amazing book that is on its way. It will be launching soon, and very soon. We are going. I'm sorry. I went a little.
That's right. Good church girl.
It is to be launching soon, and very soon. It is called the Emerald Code, and it's part of my framework based around Dorothy and the Wiz, and to how leaders can just be. And when I say killer leaders, I mean that in a good way, so that your people are gravitated toward you, so that they trust you, and that they don't have that feeling of, oh my God, how did you get here? Why are you still here? What you know, that type of disengagement. So I'm going to help you confront that and combat that. So actually with that, which actually is a great segue, I have a book bundle. It is called the Emerald Code Bundle, and it deals with my first book, my first leadership book, not my first book. Let me be very clear with that. And that is Power, Privilege, and Humility, Unveiling the Layers of Leadership Lessons Learned. And I have coupled that with Bipolar Faith, which you know a lot about as far as how Bipolar Faith came about. And that is Bipolar Faith, the roller coaster ride of spiritual resilience and emotional vulnerability. So I've packaged those two together in the bundle. And once you purchase that, then you'll get a free copy of the Emerald Code once that is launched. And that bundle is only $50. But you can find all of that out on my website. It's got everything, how you can follow me on social media, how you can stay connected with me as far as a newsletter. Find out, you remember that Where's Waldo? You find out where's Dr. T, where's Dr. Tajiri. All of that can be found on my website, which is Dr. Tajiri, TAJIRI.com. It's just that simple.
It's just that simple. Doctor, you are always a pleasure on here. Follow her, hire her, get her books, get her on your podcast. Everybody's listening and have a podcast. Invite her. You're going to have fun. She's going to have real nuggets of wisdom for the workplace and beyond. Thank you, Dr. T. Before we close, I want you to be thinking about words of wisdom you want to leave for the Dorothys. Again, thank you to our September sponsors, Casper and Cheryl, authors of Mastering Adam and Mastering Eve and Divorce Proofing Your Marriage. They are also the creators of I Am Love Builders and the host of the award-winning TV show, Christian TV show, and producers of the I Am Love Builders show. If you would like to be a sponsor of the Real Talk with Tanya White show, again, reach out to me, inbox me on via any platform you see me on. Also, you can email me at Real Talk with Tanya White. Tanya, Tanya, White is in the color. As we close, Dr. T is going to leave us with some nuggets of wisdom for Dorothy's in the workplace. Dr. T, kick it back to you.
First, being unapologetic in who you are. Stand 10 toes down, stand your ground. Make sure that you are making your decisions so that they are for the greater good and not just to please one or two people. Your loyalists. This is another talk show within itself. But I will leave you with this very, very last statement.
No, wait, my man, Dr. T, we getting a muffled sound, and we need to hear this.
How about now?
Say it again.
What about now?
You're still a little muffled. Hold on. Let me work from my end because we want to hear this. Okay, let's say something again.
How about now?
It's getting better. Continue to talk. Go ahead.
All right, I will continue.
Ain't nobody about the devil. Ain't nobody about the devil, because what you going to say is going to transform somebody's life. In the name of Jesus, clear the technical waves and let us speak clearly right now. God, Jesus.
Amen, hallelujah.
All right, keep talking.
Amen, hallelujah.
We're
Okay,
going to get it over this. It's not a little. Did you switch your phone or something?
I haven't touched a thing.
Yeah, that's the devil. Hold on.
Hopefully you can hear this. If I'm going to put it here in the chat, and then you can just add that to what you need to hear, or I can send it to you and edit it in.
I heard you say stand 10 toes down. That's what I heard clearly. Is that correct? Boom. We're going to end with that. Stand 10 toes down. For more information, the Lord must want you to connect with Dr. T individually, because we're not going to give no muffled advice, because that ain't nobody but the devil. But I heard you say, before it got real muffled, stand 10 toes down. Correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, what about now? Can you hear me better now?
No, it ain't nobody but the devil. It's still muffled. That means you got to come back. You got to come back. And we're going to discuss your leadership book in Bipolar Faith. Listen, y'all, we had a wonderful time talking with Dr. Tajiri Brackens, the Workplace Wizard, CultureOlogist. Listen to the show, share the show, subscribe to Real Talk with Tanya White on YouTube as you're listening to this. And remember, as you're listening and living your life, as I always end every show, love your life, live your life, and laugh through your life. Until next time, you guys, I love you. Bye-bye.